Hey guys, welcome to tonight. I want to do we need to get like this drum roll, some kind of band that's like, guys, we're here, we're live, we're excited to be with you guys. As you begin to log in, let us know where you are from. Tonight is going to be a live Q&A. So we're going to be breaking down a deal, as you can tell from the title. It's how to wholesale a mobile home. Of all things, guys. And sometimes we think about not getting involved in mobile homes because it's not that, oh man, you can't make that much money, so why would I even waste my time with it? Tonight might change your mind on why you waste your time with mobile homes. So tonight we have Stephen Kaiser. I always want to say Kisser, but it's not. Stephen Kaiser. He is from Charlotte, North Carolina, guys. And you're going to find out that if you do come across mobile homes, there are potential big deals behind these. And I think so many times we overlook this. So Stephen, I think this is going to be fantastic to have you go through your jam in a recent deal you've done. And ultimately it taught you something for a future one that you have going on. So we're excited to break this down, but give us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little intro of who you are and what the heck, how long you've been in wholesaling in this fun game that we do.
Yeah, so I started out as a broker, like I'm sure a lot of people do, thinking that's the only way to get in real estate. Quickly decided that wasn't for me, so started wholesaling full-time in 2017. And, you know, I like to travel, so I would make some money, go travel, make some money, go travel.
Bro, you are just like another individual that came out to our scale event. His name's Alfredo. And I'm telling you, this guy's the same thing, and it was so cool to watch him. Single guy, but he just enjoyed life. Life. He would go do 5 or 6 deals and go to another continent for a little bit, and then come back when the money's dried up, turn on marketing, do another 5 or 6 deals, and then turn it off and go to another continent. And the guy just loves it. Right now, he is. I think he's going to be traveling back here to Utah soon, but I think he's going down. He says, "I'm going to go live in Brazil for a few years and do some like humanitarian work." And so it's just cool to see what wholesaling can actually afford us. So I'm excited for you to share a little bit more about that. But you said you were traditional real estate, didn't like it, and that's what got you into wholesaling in the first place, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I thought I could just flip houses straight out the gate. So I discovered wholesale in the process of how to flip houses with no money.
Yep.
And it
seemed
was it
like the Carlton Sheets no money down system, or was it a different one?
No. I think I stumbled across Bigger Pockets, and they were mentioning RIA networks and RIA groups. And so I started going to some of the local ones here in, I believe it was Concord at the time, met a couple people that I actually already knew that were wholesaling, and they were telling me some of the stuff they were doing. I thought it was too good to be true. And then one day I just decided, they basically pushed me to, I bought bandit signs with my cell phone number on them. I was like, I'm just going to buy bandit signs. And
imperfect action. Let's roll.
Yeah. But it was
so
good.
You didn't even use like a call rail number. These people were calling literally your phone number.
Well, after the 1 week, I put them out and they all got taken away. So I actually had the city calling me for violations, but I just never answered it.
Attaboy. So guys, if you're listening to this and you're going to do bandit signs, please buy a call rail number. Do not do that on do that on your cell phone. Awesome.
Yeah, that was bad news.
Well, dude, let's get right into this. So guys, we're going to be breaking down a real case study. We're going to be going through a real life deal that Stephen just recently did, and it is a mobile home. And we don't come across them often, Stephen, but we come across them often enough, and we definitely don't pass on them. And I think we've learned so many things over the years that some of the things, maybe a quick tip that we've learned is the first time we did one, we didn't know what we had. And when we'd market it, all of a sudden these cash buyers are coming about and they're asking questions that we just don't get with single family. And so they're like, well, does it come with the land or without the land? I'm like, gosh, I don't know. And so we had to go back for many things. And is there an HOA? Do they pay rent? What's included in the rent? Is water, electricity part of it, or is that separate? And I just remember hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh man, there's more to this that I just don't know. So, what are, maybe before we even get into into this deal breakdown, what are some of the quick things that you could give as a gold nugget that you have learned about mobile homes and why you're not willing to pass them, why you still go after these deals?
So what I've noticed is people with mobile homes deteriorate very quickly. And so a lot of times they're in bad shape, which means people don't think there's any value left in them. Also, they're mobile homes and people don't think there's any value in them. So I'm able to get them, and I'm sure everyone else will be able to get them under contract a lot cheaper than they would say the same size area of a single family house. And there's a retail market. Facebook Marketplace is a great place to sell the mobile homes.
That's awesome. I know these, and we'll get into this specifically. I'm going to save some questions for this, but I just had one. I'm like, wait, hold 1 second. We're going to ask this in a second. But mobile homes in general, is this something that you come across often, or is this something that just often enough?
I think in certain counties that I market to, they're more frequent than others. I don't find too many in Mecklenburg. They're here far and few between in Cabarrus, a lot in Rowan, good bit in Gaston. So it really just depends on the area and the demographics there. And down here in the South, I mean, some of the rural parts, most of them are mobile homes. So it's not uncommon to come across them.
Another big thing I've learned from mobile homes is the fact that mobile homes depreciate, guys. They're not appreciating assets. They're liabilities. They're not like a home, a single family home that appreciate. So sometimes you get this curveball where someone comes to you and tells you, hey, I bought this home for $80,000 and I'll just sell it to you for the same price I bought it for, like a mobile home, let's talk about. And I remember thinking, oh man, this is awesome. We bought it 5 years ago for $80,000. This has got to be a deal. That was the other curveball I got at the beginning, is when I sent it out to cash buyers, all, how much did he pay for this? I'm like, 80 grand. He's like, dude, you realize these depreciate. They don't hold value. And I'm like, no, I didn't. So I did so many things wrong in my first deal. So hopefully this will be something for those that have never done a deal with mobile homes that will just help you guys out, so that as you go out there and do deals, because there is great money in mobile homes. I want you guys to break any of the false things that exist out there, like, oh, I don't mess with them because they don't make good deals. That's false, guys, and we're going to show you tonight. So let's jump right into it. As we go, guys, if you have questions, put them up there, and we're going to be answering them live. So if you have questions in regards to mobile homes, some of the questions that you have that you want to learn about, please chime in, and we'll be here to answer those live with you guys. So let's break this down, my friend. Let's go into your deal, break it down in detail. Let's start with the list. What list did you use to find this deal, and what marketing channel were you using to get your message out to this individual?
Yeah, I found it with a delinquent tax list. Sent an email to the.
Where do you get yours? Is that something local? Is that something you have to pay for? Is that something that's like, no, they're just at the county?
They're all free. Some of them are online, and some of them aren't. And so anytime that there's not one that's online for me to just go download, I'll send them a message like, hey, I'm looking for a list of delinquent taxpayers for real estate. I was able to get this list from Cabarrus and Mecklenburg online. I was on your website, wasn't able to find it. If you could point me in the right direction, I'd appreciate it. And 9 times out of 10, they just send it over to me. And so now I just, every 6 months or so, I'll just send those people an email that I've been communicating with.
So you've learned to build a good communication with them, like almost relationship with them. So they know when you're asking, they know who they're sending it to, it sounds like.
Maybe I've never met them in person because I'm just sending them an email, but it tends to be the same person every time I ask for it. So I'm sure they're like, oh, here's that guy again asking for that list.
We've got a guy over here, well, guy or gal, it doesn't show their name, but love mobile homes and agrees with us 100% that they are massively misunderstood. So I'm glad that some of our listeners are even like, oh yeah, get into these mobile homes. There's some fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
So when you are looking to market to these individuals, do you even realize that they're mobile homes that you're marketing to, or is it just part of the tax delinquent and it just happens to be a mobile home that's on the list?
Just part of the tax delinquent list, and they just happen to get a card.
And I think this is crucial. You're not taking them away. You're not taking them off. And I think so many times
no.
look at the list and like, oh, it's a mobile home. I'm going to remove this. You just like, nope, I don't remove anything. I just send them out.
Yeah, I look for them now.
No, phenomenal. And do you feel like competition's high on these, or do you feel like they are lower on these?
I think it varies. I've gotten beautiful pieces of land that no one else has made offers on. No one's talking to them. And then I've talked with people with pieces of junk that I don't know why anyone would want it, that have 20 cards in their hand whenever I go up there. So yeah, it really just depends.
Okay. Well, let's break this down. So you're using the tax delinquent list. For many of you guys watching, that's a local list that you can get. And then second of all, you were sending out, is this, you said postcard?
Postcards with
postcard, guys. Mail is not dead yet again. I love this. Okay, so what does that look like? You send out mail, and was this someone that responded quick when you sent out the mail, or is this something that took time? They hold on to it for a while.
I want to say they probably responded within a couple weeks, and it was more of a follow-up game. I probably followed up with them for a month or two before they had things worked out, ready to make something happen.
Okay, so this is something that they had reached out initially. Now you have like your CRM, your customer relationship management system, and then from there, it's just you kept in contact. How often do you keep in contact with individuals when you're doing the follow-up? What did this one specifically look like?
It depends on the conversation I had with them prior. So if I talk to them and I get off the phone, I'm like, hey, they're like, I got to talk to my brother or sister on Monday when he gets back in town. I'm like, oh, hey, what time Monday would be good for me to call you back? And this may be on a Monday of the previous week.
Yeah.
But if they don't answer, I call them either the next day or 2 days after, and I just keep repeating that. And after they don't answer for a while, I may move it to a week follow up. Someone like this, it was probably in every 3 days or 3 to 5 days, following up with them just to check in and see what's going on. Depends on the motivation.
That showed motivation. So that's what we're always looking for, right? Like I'm always the fan of knowing that, hey, a discounted property or a deal begins with motivation and equity. So motivation can come in various forms. What was it specific about this deal that made you feel like I need to be following up with them every couple of days?
Yeah, so they were behind on their taxes. They made that known to me from the get-go. They told me about how the condition of the property wasn't very good.
Yeah,
they had inherited it from the guy that I was talking with. It was his wife's father that had passed away, and she had inherited it. So they didn't really have any connection to it. They didn't live there. Other than it was her parents, but she didn't want anything to do with it. And just the verbiage and the way that they were talking to me, it was apparent, it was obvious that they were going to sell this at some point very soon, and they're probably going to sell it for a pretty good discount.
Yeah. So how do you begin to, and I know this will be a question that I get a ton, is how do you begin to really put a value on this? It's not like single family where there's a like, make, model, and maybe there is on comps, but I think they're so hard to find sometimes that same like kind quality like it is a single family. It's like it's so easy to pull a comp on a single family home. How do you comp mobile home?
So some have comps and I can do it that way, but usually my strategy is just get it as low as humanly possible.
So I love this already, guys. If you are not taking notes, and now I'm telling you to take notes, let this be the first gold nugget already, is notice that there wasn't really a calculation tied to this. I think too many times we pin like this, oh, it's just whatever, 50% of ARV and then minus out this and minus out that. And I think for single family, sometimes that strategy works, but when it comes to mobile homes, and even for us for single family, just so you know, I love his answer because that's what we roll with. We are literally, if we can't find a comp within 2 minutes, then we just go without a comp because a comp should not take more than 2 minutes. And I just love the fact that you said, I'm just going to go out there and I'm just going to get it as low as possible. And that really is the mindset that we have as well. So love where you're going with this. So what does that look like? You go on this appointment. Finally, they're ready to sell. And you didn't have to go on this appointment, right? Was this done virtually, wasn't it?
Majority of what I do is virtual. Yeah.
And virtual in another market, or virtual because you never go on the appointment?
Just virtual, because a lot of the stuff I do is 30, 45 minutes away. And to me, that's just a lot of time wasted going in and out. And if it's someone who, like, I went on an appointment last week to a guy who inherited a house, a big emotional connection to it. He's definitely going to sell it. I went out there and met with him just because it felt right. But when people are giving me that they only want whatever they can get for it type of thing, 9 times out of 10, I can make them an offer on the phone and they'll take it and just get it out of my hands type of thing. Just put some money in my account.
And I'm assuming when you do something like this, you're using like a DocuSign or something to get that offer over to them.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that something, talk us through the process. Is that something, because I have a unique strategy that whenever we go through that, I'm curious what you do, because I always like to see what's going on. What do you do to make sure that they don't just get your offer and go shop it for someone else? Like, what is your strategy to get that signed?
Before I started watching you and Jerry, I would just send it over to them.
Bro,
but now
this is
I
good news. You changed your process.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Now I ask them if they're in front of a computer, like, hey, well, when can you be if you're not? And I get them to sign it right then and there. I actually did 2 under contract 2 weeks ago like that. So
yeah, guys, I want you to understand what he's saying. Me and Jerry have been talking about this. In fact, Jerry Norton changed his whole process on this. Jerry's very much virtual in all of his markets. And so a lot of times he would just send over the offer, and then sometimes they would come back and ghost him, or he'd never hear from him again. The secret behind that, guys, is sellers are not as dumb as we think. Like, sellers are not, they're definitely people that are going to try and get their highest and best. And what you do is, if you send over an offer to their email and don't have them in front of their computer email when you send it, and go through the agreement together right then and get it signed, 9 times out of 10, if not pretty dang close to 100% of the time, you'll see that a good chunk of these deals, all of a sudden it's like you can't get back and hold of them. You can't get in touch with them. They're ghosting you, meaning they're not getting back with you on text message or phone calls. And 9 times out of 10, guys, it's because they're shopping you. They already have a bona fide offer, and now anyone that comes to them, they can simply say, hey, I've already got an offer for X amount. If you can beat that, then I'll go with you. And then usually they just take that next offer and just keep going, because they want to get as high as they can for it. So you have to get smart. You have to be able to negotiate better. So what is that process? Let's break it down slow for them. When you have now a seller that says, oh my gosh, I love this offer, Steven. This works for me. Walk me through it. What do you do now? What's the new process?
What I'm doing? Oh, the new process is, well, hey, are you in front of a computer right now?
And what if I say, I'm gonna challenge you? I'm not in front of a computer right now.
No worries. Do you have a cell phone that has email on it? And 9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10 they do. And I'm saying, cool, no problem. Just put me on speakerphone, and I'm going to send this over to you real quick. I got a couple questions to ask you anyways while I fill this out. It won't take long.
How long does it take you to fill out a DocuSign?
I have a template saved. So really all I got to change is the
purchase price,
property address, purchase price,
closing
the total, because I do the total, and the closing date.
Yeah.
And then their name automatically populates. The attorney's the same. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's the same city, state, and zip anyway. So I'm just changing the street address on it. So it takes probably 2 minutes. Not long at all.
Yeah. Okay.
I was talking to a guy about the weather.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Even to the point of, if they say, no, it's going to be about 10 minutes before I'm in front of a computer. The big thing here, guys, that you have to learn from Steven, that this is a process we do as well, is don't let them off the phone. You already have them on the phone. So just say, no worries, like Steven said, no worries. I've got a few questions for you anyways. So while I'm putting this together, I'll ask you a couple questions, and then ultimately that'll give you time to get back in front of the computer. But ultimately, as we're talking, let me know when you're back in front of the computer, and you just start filling out, asking questions. By the way, and it can be anything about now family. By the way, how many kids do you have? Oh my gosh, I have 4 kids. And yeah, blah, 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 blah. And you start just going off and just build rapport with them. Cool. Yep. Hey, I'm almost done. You almost home? Yeah, I'm walking in the house right now. Awesome. Walk over to that computer. I should be done in time before you even turn that baby on. Let's go. Like, have fun with them. And you just keep them on that phone. And the big thing is you want them to open it up while you're on the phone so you can go through that agreement together. And the key word here is agreement, not contract. It's
I use that.
Right? Contract sounds like, my attorney needs to review this. Agreement is, hey, we're just coming up with a mutual agreement, a win for you, a win for me. So I'm going to walk you through this agreement so that we can get it signed, and then just walk them through it. This one says this one says this one says this. We're going to close on this date. You're going to get this much money. And ultimately that little thing back there, yep, hit that. Okay. Now just you can either pick a style and adopt that signature, or you can do your own signature. Just hit that button. Perfect. Hey, we've got the agreement put together. We're good to go. That's the process you need to do. But now let's get to, now we know the process. We're going to backtrack a little bit. So this individual you do follow up with for about a month. Yep. And you send over this agreement to her. What was the price of this mobile home? What were you able to put it under contract for?
I believe it was $10,000 under contract, and we were going to pay their taxes, which was like $2,100. So
okay,
$1,200 or $12,000 all in.
Okay, so $12,000, guys. So this one, is this something that you knew was like a deal at that price, or is there times where you put a mobile home under contract and you're like, oof, I just don't know what this is going to be?
I mean, it was really close to the land value, so I figured someone would pay at least 20 for it. So worst case scenario, I'll walk away with 10 grand and call it a day.
Because this one came with the land, it sounded like.
Yeah. Most of them down here do, unless it's in a mobile home park, which has a management company and all that stuff. So if it's just like a single plot of land, 9 times out of 10, it's well and septic, 1.5 acres, 2 acres. I mean, good chunk of land, and mobile home on it.
That's awesome. So you get this under contract, $10,000. Also willing to pay their, is that back taxes? You said?
Yeah,
back taxes for 2 grand. So all in $12K. What was your strategy from there? What did you end up doing so that you could go now turn it for a profit? Was this something that you rehabbed? I'm hinting some jokes here. Was this one that you kept as a rental? Is this one that you assigned? Is this one that you closed on and put on the market? What does that look like for you? What strategy did you use on this?
So I just blasted it out to my buyers list, MailChimp, and I put it out. I don't remember if I put it out at 20 or 25. I want to say I put it out at 25. And I had a lot of people come back at 23, 20. Some people came in at 15, 10. And one guy offered 25 with $5,000 non-refundable deposit down.
Jeez.
I was like,
so
okay.
He was serious about this. Is this a retail buyer?
I should have
or
been skeptical.
Cash buyers?
He was on my cash buyer list, but I should have been skeptical when they're that interested. Be skeptical.
Skeptical in the mean you don't think they'll fulfill, or skeptical?
No, skeptical
like,
as
oh my
in,
gosh, if someone's willing to do this, I'm not seeing the bigger picture.
I'm selling it too cheap, basically.
Yeah.
There's another buyer out there that I'm not tapping into.
Guys, this is good gold nuggets he's sharing. If someone comes in like instantly and it's like you've got this hovering rank around like 15,000, 20,000, and then there's this lonesome dove that says, yep, I want it this price, and I'm willing to prove it by giving you $5,000 non-refundable. That, my friend, should tell you either you hit a home run, one thing, or to what Steven's saying is, am I missing something? Like, what am I missing here? So did you accept it? Like you said, you had this hesitancy, like, you're skeptical. What's going on here?
Now, that was the lesson I learned from this deal.
Oh, so this is the skepticism.
I was thinking about it. Yeah. I
Okay.
started thinking about what you say because I'd heard something that it was one of these lives probably,
Yeah.
talking about how when you make an offer, when someone says they want 20K for their house and you're like, yes, I got 20K, like, let's do it right now. I'll send you the contract, and you act all eager. That's making the seller think that, hey, maybe I'm giving this thing away and I should go back. So it was just kind of the same scenario thought process, but reversed. And I started thinking about that and the 5K, and he just on my tail the whole time. Did you send the contract yet? Like, just coming at me.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the HUD.
So you take it. So you didn't have to close on this. Did you just do a simple assignment?
No. Yeah, assignment.
Okay. So you assigned to this cash buyer 25,000, and he was willing to do the 5K of earnest money, non-refundable. So that already is a home run. In my books, I look at that and I'm like, man, that's really good, especially on a mobile home. You put on a contract at 12, you sell it at 25. There's a $13,000 profit? Is my math right?
Yeah.
I had to think through that. $13,000 profit. That already is a win. By the way, we're gonna ring the bell for that. We got it. So $13,000 on this one, but this plot thickens, guys. Get ready. Keep going.
So whenever I went to pick up my check, I get a settlement statement with it, and I see that the guy I assigned it to isn't the one that bought it. It looked like a Hispanic couple family.
Yep.
And I see the price was 35,000 and his fee was 10. And I was like, man.
So this end buyer that you didn't even know about, was that a retail buyer that was looking to live there, or is this an investor as well?
So the end buyer, I'm not 100% sure what they were. I do know from working as a realtor a few years back that there are a lot of agents and individuals that work with Hispanic families who have large down payments to put down on properties.
Yep.
And they usually will pay a little more for something because either they can't get a loan, they don't mind doing the work, they can get things done cheap because they know people that can get the work done. And I would see some stuff sell on the MLS that no retail buyer would pay, but their buyer pool was able to take down no problem. And that's why now I throw everything that kind of meets that criteria on Facebook Marketplace, and my inbox is
just loaded. So
loaded.
Let's break this down, guys, because I have a question around this. Because what one way of doing this in one state also could pose a challenge or a problem in some states. So it sounds like in North Carolina, you are able to simply put something under contract and you're able to already market it on Facebook Marketplace. Is that correct?
As long as you word that you're marketing your contract and not marketing the property for sale. So this is an assignment. I am not the owner. I'll be assigning the rights to my contract at closing. I am not marketing this property type of thing. Because then you're kind of balancing the line of acting as a broker, and that can kind of get you in trouble.
Yeah. So guys, I bring this up because even in Utah, even with the correct verbiage, I cannot do that. So what they say here in Utah, for example, and this is to give you a different perspective from two different states, is even if I use that verbiage, what they're saying is you're now putting it out to the mass public, people that didn't say, hey, I'm subscribed to your list, let me know about the deals you come across. Now I'm actually just blasting it out to the public like the MLS. And so Utah sees that as, oh, you're just acting as an agent. You're putting it out to the mass market. You're not putting it out to the people that said, I'm on your list. And so that's why I want to give you two perspectives, because I always want to make sure that the things you learn here, I hopefully inspire you, but hopefully always make you check with a good real estate attorney or check with your division and find out what is the best way to do that so that you just do it correctly. I wish, Stephen, I could do it your way, because I know there are so many deals that I'm leaving money on the table because I don't have that mass marketing opportunity for me in Utah.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. But in Dallas, they allow us to do it. In Texas.
So they wouldn't allow you to put a sign in the yard that says anything?
No, because now we're acting like a realtor who puts signs in the yard. So
gotcha.
now it shows like you're trying to sell a home and not a contract. And so,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's fun here. Some of the laws, it's just it is what it is, and it hasn't distracted us. Other than that, is a cool opportunity that you came across that you're able to do that. So, did this individual, is that what you learned about? Like, you said he had the buyers for it already? Or did he just do what you said? Like his end by putting it on Facebook place?
I didn't talk to him about it, so I'm kind of just assuming a lot here about what he did. I think he probably just had a network of that particular type of buyer that he knew he could get it sold for X amount of dollars just because of what it was and past stuff that he's already done. From other things that I have put out on Facebook Marketplace over the past years, or Craigslist back when that was the main channel, it was kind of the same results. I just have steered away from that because you don't know how serious a lot of these people are.
Yeah.
And so it can be a big time waster as well. So I prefer to just blast it out to the buyers list anyways, because you know that they're going to perform on something.
Dude, I love this. I love everything about this. So guys, as you're listening to this, these are some quick tips and gold nuggets you can always jot down, and I hope you're jotting down. There's just little differences, little nuances, but I love this this marketplace thing. So are you saying you can do this regardless if it's a mobile home or a single family home?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to need to go check the laws again. From my understanding, and seeing other people and talking to other people, as long as the verbiage is you're marketing the contract,
that's awesome.
It's good, and I haven't had any slaps on the wrist yet. So,
future pacing this now. What? It sounds like you have. Do you have a deal that you're working on right now, or a deal that you have under contract currently that you're now using this strategy?
Yeah, so I have another mobile home that I got under contract for $10,000, and I put it on Facebook a couple weeks ago for 30, and I had probably 80 messages in about 24 hours.
You're kidding.
No, and so I took it down because it's too cheap.
Yeah.
And turned out the seller, he has to do like 30 days of probate anyway, so I don't really need to market it this early anyways.
Yeah.
So I put it back up a couple days ago for 40. Same thing. But half of them were 35, 37, a couple 40. So a little bit different. I feel like I'm in that range now. I also had a couple people saying, I'll give you 10 grand down and 400 a month for 15 years. And I might do something like that too on
That's really
and just
cool.
buy it outright.
That's
and just
really
take
cool.
their down payment and buy the house, and then.
That's really cool. I really like that. So tell me this. I guess not tell me this. Here's the thing I love about real estate in general. I love the fact that it affords us opportunities. And the more action we take in real estate, you see that it can lead you to just some cool opportunities. Now, I also hesitate, and I tell people, it can be a shiny object syndrome. It can be something that's like squirrel, right? But something like this, I don't feel like that's a bad win. I mean, a bad deal. I think that's a huge win because you can structure that in a way that is also not a tenant. So if there's any problems with it, it's not your problem, it's their problem. So if their toilet doesn't flush, that they don't call you, it's their problem. It's as if they own the property, even though you're basically just the bank and they're making payments to you. And yes, you can foreclose on them, but that this is very much your home. So if there's any problems, you deal with it versus more like a rental style where you also have to deal with the tenants and toilets.
Yeah. And with something like this, I think it's perfect.
Would that be your structure, is to do it that way?
Yeah. Interest rate, terms, 15 years, 20 years, 10 years, whatever. I'd have to look at the laws on things. I think there's a max interest rate you can charge and only so many years and stuff. But I have friends that have, 20, 30 of these, and they don't have to deal with any type of maintenance or anything like that. Of course, they're going to eventually expire after 20, 30 years. So if you're not continually adding to it, it's not like a rental property where you could sell it in 20 years for the appreciation or something like that. But I think it's a good strategy for no hassle and still getting some passive income.
So potentially on this next deal, you could be making 30,000 cash or have an awesome little opportunity where you finance it over the time. You're still no money out of pocket. And now
it'd be like
passive cash.
It'd be like 80 grand over 15 years, I think is what it would total out to.
You're kidding me. Yeah, this guy that just came in, I think someone pushed enter too quick on this one. But down here, it's called a lease option. That is correct, Frederick. So this is a lease option.
I think a lease option's a little different.
Well, lease option, it can be almost like just terms or seller finance is really what I would call this.
Seller finance, yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lease
option is if you leave someone else's stuff in place, right?
That's like a rent to own, I feel like a lease option.
Yeah.
You have the option fee. I could be wrong on that.
No, I think they're both interchangeable. And I in fact, even when I talk to people about a deal we've done, I bet you 10 times I've said it wrong. And it's like, oh yeah, we did a sub-2 deal. And they're like, well, that's more like a wraparound. I'm like, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So that is right though, Frederick. There's definitely something tied to that where you can do it as a lease option as well. Very, very good point. So going forward, is this something, I think it's always good to know where people can see this. How many deals does your operation currently do every month?
It depends. I'm averaging them probably around, like I told you earlier, I started doing this again after a year off in July of last year. Yeah. And from starting marketing in July to December, I did 6 deals, so about 1 a month.
Yep.
One of those months I did 3. Another one I did 1. Another one 1, 0, and another one 1.
And is your only marketing channel direct mail, or do you have multiple marketing channels?
Only direct mail for now. I'm talking to that Bateman guy about doing some web leads.
Dude.
Yeah, I talked to him last week.
Let me put this up here. I'll put so you can see what he's talking about. This is an individual. In fact, I talked about it on as a guest for Steve Trang. Did you watch that one? Were you happy to be on that one?
No, but when I called him, he was like, "Did you hear about me on the Steve Trang?" I was like, "No, but I'm gonna go check it out."
Yeah. So that little ticker on the bottom is BatemanCollective.com is who he's talking about, and this is an individual that's been doing my digital marketing, my web marketing, so Facebook, pay-per-click, SEO. He's been doing it for a little over 3 years, and we are just absolutely like ecstatic about the results we're getting. You do have to couple it with a phenomenal process. So I always tell people, if you're going to get into web, just make sure you're coupling it with a solid process. We are we treat every one of our leads with respect and with urgency. And that's a crucial part of this. So it doesn't matter how good his marketing is. If there's not a process behind it with you as the acquisition manager, then Brandon can't have crystal balls just like roll into your lap and be like, hey, here's the close. It is followed and coupled with incredible marketing coupled with your efforts. So if you guys are looking, here's something cool about his product with Bateman Collective. So his name's Brandon Bateman. That website, if you go to it, let's say you have a lower budget, you can start for as little as $50 a day, guys, on Facebook marketing. And he has a product that's phenomenal that he does nationwide. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, what city you're in. For as little as $50, you can already start $50 a day. You can already start Facebook marketing, which is already a great wide funnel of getting leads in at a very, very, very affordable rate. And we're starting to see a lot of people. I talk to him often. I'll ask him, hey, how's that product doing? And he has individuals already doing deals within their first month. Now, that's not guaranteed. There's no guarantee into this. Again, we have to couple it with our efforts of closing it. But yeah, people are getting good results and they're getting it quick. So currently you don't do web, but it's something you're looking at, you said, it sounds like.
Yeah. I just like how it's kind of similar to direct mail in the way that you send it out or it does its thing and the leads are more inbound as opposed to reaching out and qualifying people constantly. Because I've done cold calling and text blasting, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The period of getting them to close is a lot longer than a direct or something else that's an inbound lead.
It is. Guys, what he's talking about is something to always remember. Whatever you're investing in, whatever strategy for marketing you're investing in, is understand the timing. Direct mail, because you're reaching out to them and the ones that are reaching back, you should have a shorter cycle from start to finish. But it doesn't mean that all of them are going to be short. There could be some that respond to you, but they don't want to sell for 6 months. But in general, they're reaching into you, so they're a shorter cycle. Cold calling, like he said, that gets tough. And so if you're not going to invest at least 6 months into cold calling, it's going to be hard to ever get traction with cold calling, because it very much is you're calling people that aren't looking for your phone call. They're not raising their hand saying, hey, I want to sell my home. So it's very, very cold. That's why they call it cold calling, right? And you're reaching out to these individuals, and that's your longest cycle for deals. And so the real beauty where you start to see consistent deals come from cold calling is if you can make sure you make the investment, that if you do it, that you invest for 6 months. And then, like you said, web is our shortest. Like, we have people that close on the spot. We did a deal, and I've shared this on here before, but to show you how quick it can happen, Connor at the time was our newest acquisition manager. A web lead came in, they filled out the form, and it had all the red buttons. Like, it was like, boom, this is a 10 out of a 10 smoking hot lead. And we had one acquisition manager, call, text, voicemail, nothing. A second acquisition manager, call, text, voicemail, nothing. And then our third acquisition manager, call, text, voicemail, nothing. All that took place in 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes from the time we received the web form. That's how urgent we are and treat these leads with respect. So we just drove out to the house, and he was out there for 2 hours and came back with a contract, and it's still our biggest assignment, $124,000. So awesome stuff here, guys. But it's that urgency. It's urgency. You cannot sit on those leads. You've got to be the one that you try to get in with them in 1 minute. Like, make that your goal whenever you have web leads come in. So I'm excited for you, man. That's going to be some good stuff for you here in the near future. And I'm confident you're going to love it, as long as you commit to you doing your part that you're good at anyways. And that's creating great relationships and closing deals.
Oh, yeah. That should be easy.
Dude, solid stuff. So in general, what is you do direct mail, you want to get into web marketing. Are there any nuances that you're adding to your business right now that you weren't doing in the past, or are you putting process in place, or do you have team in place? Do you have virtual assistants? What makes up your business?
So right now it's just me. About a year ago or 2 years ago, 2019, I had built up a team with 3 cold callers, a lead manager, acquisition specialist, and got I tried to do it all too fast and rushed the whole process, got burnt out, took a year off, and now I'm just rolling. I got the profit first system going, so I'm kind of growing with that operations account. So as the operations account grows, I'll start to bring on new things, bring on new channels. Whereas before it was just like, I got this much sitting in my account, I'm just going to throw it into cold calling or throw it into text blasting. So right now it's just me. I have about 9, it's between 9 and 11 under contract right now that all should close within all but 4 should close within the next 30 to 45 days. And so I'm probably going to be bringing in either a VA. We talked about scale. I want to get out there and do that, because I feel like that's the only thing holding me back from really scaling, is having a process in place that I'm confident in. And I know once I have the instructions, let me go.
Dude, I love everything about this. Guys, what he's referring to for scale, that's that 3-day event, 3-day training that I do in my office. The next one's June 9th, 10th, and 11th that he's going to be out to. There are a couple spots left if you're looking to do that. I don't know if I have an actual banner for that one, but essentially it's goref.com/scale. Let me put that up. I can do that. That's not too hard. I have one that's almost created. So this is where you can go learn more about that. But that's to put that process. But here's what I love what you're doing is, regardless if you came to scale or not, what I heard was it was more like mind driven versus data driven. It was like, I got some money in the bank account. Let's throw it here and see if it sticks. Yeah. And guys, most investors will do that. That's not just something Steven did. Most investors will do that. And that's where they fall into a lot of trouble. And so I love that you're backing up and now saying, hey, let's just find the process. Let's put the process in place and we follow a process. There's a great book. It's in my other office just around the corner. It's called Millionaire Fastlane. I talked to you about this earlier. Yes. It talks about process in general. We always want the event. The event is get a deal. But to get a deal, you must follow a certain process. And every time you follow that process, the likelihood of you going to the event or getting the deal is higher. And this book goes over this whole analogy of how crucial the process is and following the process. And so you have a young basketball player, graduates for the first year of college, goes into the NBA, lands a $50 million contract. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, like this is incredible. This young kid made $50 million contract. And we only see the event. But what's sidelined is the process. The many hours throughout his life practicing. The many late nights doing pickup ball. The many times that he got injured or had to have rehabilitation because he had to overcome a surgery or something, or getting cut from JV or from varsity or something. We don't hear that side of the story. We just see the event, and we sometimes forget that that young individual also had a process in place that allowed him to land that $50 million contract. And so I'm excited for you to come out to scale, my friend, because that's going to be where you get this process so you can get that blueprint and get you up to 7 figures. I just have no doubt in my mind that you cannot go there. I know people in your market that are doing great things, that are doing a lot of deals. Sure. So I'm excited to see what you're going to do when you have the process, my friend.
I'm excited.
Well, tell me this. What would you say for those on here? We did this earlier. Guys, just so you know, this is me and Steven's second time today having a conversation. I had him earlier on the podcast. But going to kind of end the same way, what would you tell individuals knowing what you know now? I know a lot of the individuals that watch this, they're at the beginning stages, and sometimes not. We have some people on here that are not at the beginning stages. They are doing deals. But what would you tell them, knowing what you know now, that would help them in their journey of becoming a wholesaler?
Like go for design everything in a way for longevity and not for quick results. Like having the operations account only growing as fast as you can grow, or as fast as you're able to grow, not trying to do too much, not comparing, not trying to be Cody Hoffheim next month.
No, be better than me.
Yeah, but just going at your own pace and keep the end vision in your head of where you're going, and just keep working at that slight edge, compound effect.
Yeah.
That those whole mindsets, just keep going, just little by little.
Solid. Those 2 books, by the way, Slight Edge and Compound Effect. If you didn't catch those, write those down. Those are 2 great books to be reading. It talks about this whole stay consistent. If you can stay consistent, it's the consistent people that win. It's the consistent people that do deals. It's the consistent people that become millionaires. You've got to stay consistent. It's that
and profit first
consistency. And Profit First, Mike McAllowitz, guys, phenomenal book. And that's big on, for every dollar that comes in, you already know how to split it out into separate accounts. Is that correct?
Yeah, to me, it was someone who I've been self-employed for 8 years now.
Yeah.
I would always get confused because everything's going into one account. So I would see all this money and I'm not taking into account the marketing cost, living expenses, actual profit from the business. Like it's just all in one pot. And now it's an easier way to see how healthy things are. Well, I got this much in my personal account. I got this much in my operations account. This much is reserved for taxes, and then the profit play money. Well, that just goes into stocks.
That's huge. I think that's where most, I mean, we can see this on a daily basis, guys, in kind of wrapping up and closing what he just said, is we see this on a daily basis. We see that Sports Illustrated, if you guys remember, this was not too long ago, but it was back in, I think, 2009. They posted an article that said that the average football player plays about 3 seasons. It's like 3.2 or something. So let's call it 3 seasons. That average contract, they get paid $1 million a year. So they're getting $3 million. This is the average individual goes to the NFL. $3 million over 3 years. That is a ton of money. Think about what that would do for you guys. But they say within a few years of retirement, like darn near 75%, 80% of them are in foreclosure, bankruptcy, and they're broke. Why? It's because money, like financial literacy, was never part of their game. It was just football, and they never learned how to manage money. Guys, poor money management can't be overcome by making more money. No matter how much money you make, whether you make $10 or whether you make $1 million, you still have to abide by the same principles of awesome money management. You can't outmake poor money management. You've got to make sure that you're learning these principles. And what a phenomenal book to start off with, guys, this book called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, because it trains you to just already separate it. For every dollar that comes in, you're already separating it into its buckets. And that's all you get. One of them is marketing or operating expenses. That's all you get. When that's gone, you can't rob it from profit. You can't rob it from taxes. You can't rob from one of the other bank accounts. That's all you get. So it gets you being really proactive on how to work every lead. And I will tell anyone all day long till my face is blue like my sweatshirt. And that is, less leads managed well will always outperform more leads managed poorly. You don't need a ton of leads coming in. All you need to is manage those leads well. And that should give everyone hope here that you can do this on any budget. It's just as you get money coming in, as long as you are allocating, like he said, to these different buckets, you'll be able to grow how much marketing goes out. And yes, you'll be able to grow how many deals you do each and every month. Great book. Also, any last words of advice that you'd share with individuals that are maybe looking to get into wholesaling, that aren't into wholesaling, or maybe they're there, but they're just discouraged because they haven't seen their first deal?
Whatever scares you the most, make sure you do that thing.
Yeah, buddy. I like that one. What was your scary thing, to give them a hindsight, what it looked like at the beginning?
When I first started, I wouldn't even call people back. I had spent hours handwriting yellow letters and envelopes and licking stamps and everything, and I wouldn't even call them back because I was scared. So
you were spending money and then just
time,
and then not do anything.
Yep, for a couple days.
Yeah. What gave you the push?
Not making any money, being in the same place next year as I am now, just not ever progressing, just thinking about all those things.
Man, solid advice. Guys, you should follow my man, Steven Kaiser. This guy's going to be doing some big things this year. Let's see if this is a good question. Let's pull this up real quick. What if your low isn't low enough, though? So let's break this down. Anna, what a great question. I actually like this question. So sometimes for me, Anna, I know what you're saying. Like for me, I was at my low. I came home and my wife was crying, wondering how we're going to still pay the bills. And that was my low. That was my breaking point where I was like, man, I'm not stepping up as a father. I'm not stepping up as a provider. I'm not stepping up as a husband. And that was my breaking point. Tony Robbins teaches us we're either running to pleasure or running away from pain, right? And so, Anna, if I understand this right, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can always chime in again, but also Stephen, maybe I'd love to see your insight on this, is what if you're not at your low? I mean, I know people that make 100 grand. I know people that make 150,000. And so they're thinking, why would I get into real estate? Like I haven't hit my low. Yeah, I know real estate might be able to make me $250,000 or 500,000 or sky's the limit, but they haven't hit their low. And I think that is such a solid question. Do you want to take a stab at that before I do?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. For me, my low is what got me into real estate. My low is not what made me push past a lot of fears in wholesaling. I would say personal development pushed me past a lot of the fears and obstacles of wholesaling, but family getting divorced, losing houses, breakups, those just like a lot of life, the lows, that's what got me into real estate in general. And I was a broker for 2 years before I got into wholesaling. Personal development and just wanting to do more got me into that, and read a lot of books.
Yeah. Anna, I look at one thing that hindsight, I didn't know what I was doing back then, but hindsight, I'm grateful that the path went this way. And I never would have thought about this maybe until I got this question, is how fortunate I was as an insurance agent to be wanting to insure investors for whatever reason. I don't know why. I'm like, investors are great. They have multiple homes, fantastic cars. I mean, this got to be the greatest account ever. And so that was my avatar, or my client that I thought would be the greatest client. And they ended up being fantastic clients. But here's what I had to do is I had to hang around them and try and learn some of their talk so that I could earn their business. And so I went to real estate investor association groups, and I'd go talk with them and chum, buddy with them and try to be their buddy versus looked at as the dorky insurance guy, right? And so I'd go just try and hang out with them. And in doing so, here was the cool part, Anna, is in doing so, they would share their stories, and I would just sit there in awe and hear more to this investor side than I was even aware of. They were talking about how they have X amount of rentals and these homes are being paid for by someone else. They get these tax benefits, and each one of them is cash flowing $500-600 a month times 10. And so they have $6,000 a month, and I wasn't making $6,000 a month, and they didn't even have to work for it. These homes were paying them $6,000 a month. And I just remember sitting there being inspired, right? And so I always tell individuals, and I've had this conversation with a couple individuals, about what if your low isn't low enough, though? Meaning you're doing okay. Maybe things are just fine. I would say go hang out with people that are in a destination that you want to be at, even though you're doing fine. For me, these investors were in a destination I want to be at. When they talked about going on vacation and still having money come into their bank account when they're gone, and I would see this because I insured their properties. And so I saw what they were making. I would talk to them about these deals, and they would tell me the exact details of it. And I just thought, I'm like, man, there is more to this. This is incredible. And because I allowed myself to get into their world, it inspired me and pushed me to also get into that world quicker. So that's the other thing to look at, is maybe you're not at a low, and maybe you're not at a low enough to make a change. Then what I'd say is just change your circle a little bit. Go hang out with people that you're like, man, I want to learn more and see if there really is something here. And then what you'll find out is it gives you this courage and confidence. You're like, oh my gosh, not just one person's doing this, 10 people. Oh my gosh, I met 15 people that are doing this now. Oh my goodness, I know 20 people that are doing this exact same thing. And then it gives you confidence, because now you're looking at them, and call me crazy. I don't mean this in a bad way, but I'd almost level myself up. I'm like, if this son of a gun can do it, I can do it. Like, this guy's nothing special. Like, if he can do it, I'm going to do it. And I'd start to size myself up. Call it bad. I'm using it as a good tool, because it got me the confidence I needed. I literally would look at some of these individuals. I'm like, there's no way. Like, if this individual can do it, I know I can do it. And so I think that's what you're going to find out is, even though you're not at the low, you'll find out individuals are doing it. And then you'll start to get this confidence, like, okay, I'm not at a low, but I'm also not going to turn away this higher level that I could obtain. And these other people are what took me to that next level. So hopefully that I don't want to add anything else to it. I don't see any more questions here. But, Steven, I want to thank you 2 times today, my friend, that you were able to jump on with me, and I appreciate that. I honor that. I respect you, and I think highly of you for taking time to do this tonight. But yeah, I'm excited. I hope you come out in June. I think it's going to be fun to see in depth what your business is doing and start to give you the blueprint to take it to the next level.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm going to be there.
Awesome. Well, guys, I love it. I love it. I'm gonna make sure I hold you to it because I think you're gonna do incredible things with it. You guys, this will now end, and as this ends, these videos do live live on. On Facebook, it should be the same. It's just comment down below. On YouTube, it's a little bit different. So those watching on YouTube, over on the side, you'll see it's like a chat section. That chat section is gonna end when this ends. So if you have any questions, just put them below the video in the comments section, and that will help you guys alert me of what questions you have, so I can hop in there and answer them first and foremost, so that we can take care of them. Maybe there'll be questions for Steven. If you have them, just make sure you tag him in it. I'm sure he'd spend some time to go in there and answer some questions. We do have some people coming in. I love it. We have, let's see. Good old Eddie Frazier. How you doing, my friend? I love seeing you in here every week. I want you to know that. Truth, I don't even talk to people in real life no more. All my people is in the community. We inspire and motivate each other, and so much better for me mentally than the people around me, leveling up. Eddie, fantastic point, bro. I want you to know I recognize that you are with us every week, and I appreciate that. There's nothing better than individuals that continually come in here to strengthen us and buoy us up too as well. So I appreciate you. And Angelo, thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Angelo, you're amazing. And you guys are probably doing better than you think. I want you guys to know that. God bless you guys in your journey, and keep your questions coming. Even though that this live portion comes to an end, keep your questions coming. Me and Steven will do our best to get in there and answer some of these things, but you guys can do this. If you're looking for the push, allow me to give you this push. You guys got this. You can do this. If this guy can do this, yes, you might be looking at a guy that's a little bit more confident now because I've been doing it for 5 years. But believe me, 5 years ago, I was a train wreck. And so I'm here to tell you, if I can do it, you can do it. If Steven can do it, you guys can do it. I promise you. It's just it's taking the right action and just consistently doing it. Steven, my friend, thanks again, brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Cody. Thank you.
Take care, guys.